So if you guys don't know who Tommy Unfiltered or Trucking Unfiltered is, he's a fella right here on YouTube. He is now a owner operator. When I first came into contact with Tommy, he was doing some reaction to my videos. I liked some of his critiques. Um, I think I got at him crazy in a comment one time. Fucking. Um, and then I checked out his channel. I was like, oh shit, this dude's an actual YouTuber. I was like, oh shit, this dude looks like he could fucking whoop my ass too. Um, but Tommy's he's a good dude. You know what I'm saying? And he did this video. He does reactions to a lot of trucking content. One is just trucking, and then there's this one that he put out that caught my interest. Just trucking says, "Don't haul cheap freight. You ain't lying. Specialized owner op or do company driver." Yeah. So what caught my interest on this trucking unfiltered video is it kind of made me want to become an owner operator, right? It's like motivating. All right. So let's hear what Tommy has to say. We're going to do a reaction to this. I already heard it, but it's going to be a good discussion. All right. It's talking about trucking and making money. Let's hear it. Let's hear what Homeboy has to say. I don't use OBS because it crashes on my computer, and my camera's better right here. Let's hear what Trucking Unfiltered has to say. This is Just Trucking says, "Don't haul cheap freight." Reaction. I put the link to this original video in the description of the live stream.
Don't haul cheap freight. Know your worth. Just Trucking is always saying that.
And not just trucking, not just trucking. Fuck. His name's Justin, right? Not just the Justin dude, the YouTuber, the big Just Trucking YouTuber that everyone loves, that I did a reaction to myself. All the owner operators say that. Don't haul cheap freight. Don't haul cheap freight. Let's go.
He's always saying those two things, right? Well, what's your definition of cheap freight? You know? What's his definition of cheap freight? Here's the thing. Is his theory on trucking working for him? I don't believe so. And a lot of you guys say, oh, he's got 2 houses. He's got 5, 6 cars. He's got boats. He's got jet skis. That did not come from trucking.
Yeah, look, we don't know where all that stuff came from. You see these people get online and they start flexing. We don't know if that's from the family. We don't know if they're a trust fund baby. We don't know. We don't know if that came from a past business adventure. You know, we don't know, right? Or it might have came from in Just Trucking's um YouTube channel, in his whatever, in his life. I think all his toys did come from trucking, because I believe that Just Trucking got into trucking as an owner operator during the pandemic, which it was the gold rush time to be a owner operator. If you were an owner operator during the pandemic, you were making a boatload of money, right? So he could have easily paid for those toys, I think, during the pandemic.
come from the way he runs his truck, right? What about supply and demand, right? Has anybody heard of supply and demand? You know, there's this other guy. There was this guy on the Asian My Show. He's been a trucker for about 25 years. He's had his CDL for about 25, 30 years, but he's only had his company for 1 year. 1 year. And he's talking about don't haul freight for under $2 a mile, or you're part of the problem. Really? Well, if I have a...
Let's find that. I saw that video the other day, right? God, these dust bunnies in my truck. Mother trucker. Asian My Show trucking. Yeah, there was an owner operator talking about. Exposing the Asian My Show for giving false information. I apologize to every trucker. One thing about the Asian My Show, I don't even think he's an active truck driver. I think like he's out of trucking because he has a lot of time to do these videos. And where is it? Public announcement.
Sorry about the truckers. So if you're
He's like a news channel. I can't find it right now. Mother Trucker. I can't find it. But yeah, I seen that video that Tommy was talking about. I seen it. There was a owner operator, bitching about the rates. Don't haul trucks. Don't haul freight for under $2 a mile. If you do it, you're a part of the problem, right? I just can't find the video right now. I know what video he's referencing though.
Customer that pays me $1 a mile, or you're part of the problem. Really? Well, if I have a customer that pays me $3 a mile, okay, running out of my town,
That's good.
and
Get the
I
calculator.
deliver one of their loads for $3 a mile in, let's say, New York, right? Upstate New York.
All right, so upstate New York. So homeboy lives in Arizona. Okay. What's up, everybody? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Mother Truck is a sellout. Why do you say he's a sellout? I don't know too much about that dude. So how many miles is Phoenix AZ from what's upstate New York? Buffalo, New York. Okay, so that's 2,201 miles. Okay, let's do some math here, because I guess he's telling us what kind of bread he's making as an owner operator, right? $3 a mile. Okay, so we're gonna do 2,201 miles, and we're gonna times that by $3. We're gonna see. Damn, that's a really good load, right? That comes out to a payout of around $6,603. How much? You guys are probably owner operators or whatever. Well, let's just think right here in California to fill up my duals right here, my 2 tanks. It's running about. I don't even think I've seen 700 to go from like close to empty to full. And I top my tanks off right here at work. That'll go like six. I've been like about 600, just under $700. Okay, so let's see how much you're making. So it sounds like Trucking Unfiltered has a direct customer as an owner operator out of Phoenix that's paying him $3 a mile from Phoenix to the East Coast. How does that make him a sellout? What are you guys talking about? He did an interview with Night Transportation, but I work for Night. He said he was an asshole, these hardball questions, and buckle as soon as they started giving little Night Transportation. Gonzo, you gotta redo it with the grammar. It's kind of hard to understand what you're saying. He did an interview with Night Transportation, but I work for Night. He said he was an asshole, these hardball questions, and buckle as soon as they start giving little. You got to do that one over. I think what you're trying to say is Mother Trucker. I saw that video that he did with Night, okay? And I think he's talked bad about mega carriers like most truck drivers on YouTube do, including myself. I talk bad about them a lot in past videos because they deserve the criticism that they get. And then I'm thinking what you're trying to say is he went to Night Swift to both terminals, right? And was pretty much kissing the CEO's ass, and like giving them good 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 media coverage, pretty much, right? Yeah. I'm doing voice text and misspelled a couple words. Type that shit, homeboy. We gotta be able to hear what you're saying, or to read what you're saying. Yeah, that's a little bit of a sellout. It is, because he should have grilled them, you know, on being a part of the ATA and fucking us over with hours of service. 10-4. Please redo so we understand. Yeah, for real. Okay, so that's a $6,000, $6,603 payout from Phoenix to Buffalo. That's what Trucking Unfiltered's making, right? So, how many times do you guys think a semi truck with dual tanks would fill up going from Phoenix to Buffalo, New York, to upstate New York, right? I think Buffalo is upstate New York, right? So let's see. So that's 2,000, it's 2,200 miles. How many miles can a freight liner Cascadia go on a full tank? Between a Freightliner Cascadia can travel between 900 and 2,000 miles on the full tank of diesel, depending on the size of the fuel tank and the truck's fuel efficiency. Fuel tank size. Okay, so let's say you have dual tanks. What's up, everybody? 3 times depending on the truck. Mother Trucker went to Phoenix. Do you have an interview with, to have an interview? You're still misspelling shit or miswritten stuff. Mother Trucker went to Phoenix to have an interview with Kevin Jackson, the CEO at the time for Night Transportation, and he was supposed to ask some hardball questions, and he buckled. He buckled under the pressure. So what you're saying is Mother Trucker went out like a little, you know. The video was kind of cringy. Asian my he seems really corporate, like for his own channel. He seems pretty PC, you know? He seems fake. He comes off kind of like I don't even know if he's an actual truck driver right now. I think he made his money and got out and now he's doing something else. And he makes a lot of money on his YouTube channel, but we're going to talk about this. So, the question with this live stream is, right, we're going to continue to watch Trucking Unfiltered's video. Me as a company driver, because this is the question that I got out of this video when I watched it. When I watched Trucking Unfiltered's video, at the end of it, I was thinking like, man, is it really worth being an owner operator? Like right now? I know right now you could buy equipment for really cheap because we're in the freight recession and a lot of the owner operators that came in during the pandemic, a lot of them are going out of business, and they're quitting because they're either like breaking even or going into the negative, which means they're going bankrupt, right? So there's a lot of cheap trucks on the market right now. If you're going to become an owner operator, right now is the time to buy equipment. If I become if I become an owner operator, I obviously know that I'm not going to be running lazy like I do right here at my job. I got it made, at my job right now, dude. I run from fucking Tracy to Northern California, like way Northern California. I lay over up there after I get unloaded and I come back. I'm making about like net what I take home after taxes and all that. I'm making about $1,300 to $1,400. I work 6 to 7 days a week, mainly 6 days. If I work 5 days, I still bring in around like 11 to 1,200 a week net. That's what I take home. It's a laid back job. It's chill, right? If I become an owner operator, like, okay, and let's say this, let's say I were to put in some work right here at my job at JB, right? Let's say I were to bust my ass right here and run like hella loads. Let's say like I become a mentor and I like team drive with my students, and I just put in that work. You know, I mean, 6 days a week, I could make around like 2200 a week. You know, like on the take home, I could bring that home right here, and I don't have to worry about dealing with even like direct customers, like or brokers and like maintenance. I don't have to worry about the whole business side of trucking. And I could still pull in 2 grand a week net what I take home, right? After tax and 401ks and healthcare and all that shit, right? My whole benefit package. If I become an owner operator, will I see more money than that? If I max out my 70-hour clock as an owner operator, dealing with a direct customer and maybe a broker load on the backhaul, right? Would I see a substantial increase in earnings? Like after business expenses and taxes and reinvesting back into the business, like what I take home for my net, like my profit, you know, like my money that I take home and like play with and pay my bills with and go out to eat with and all that. Am I going to see more money, or is it going to be pretty much the same, right? Because right now what I'm seeing on YouTube on the trucking side is I'm seeing everyone again talking about becoming an owner operator. When I look up trucking on YouTube and advice on trucking on YouTube, it's all owner operator advice. It's not really company driver advice. Um, the black homeboy that does the food service, I think it's I'm Anthony TV. He talks about a lot of the stuff when it comes to getting into trucking and becoming a company driver. I talk about, well, I don't really talk about this shit no more, but I got a lot of videos about being a company driver. But when I go on YouTube, everyone's talking about being an owner operator. Is there like more money? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I going to bring home instead of two, am I going to bring home like 3 to 4 grand after tax as an owner operator and after my business expenses? Because that's kind of what I got out of here, right? So let's do it. So on this one on a head haul that he's talking about from going from Phoenix to upstate New York. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we are reacting to Trucking Unfiltered, Don't Haul Cheap Freight. Just Trucking was bitching about it, and this is the reaction. Listen to this.
1 year. 1 year. And he's talking about don't haul freight for under $2 a mile, or you're part of the problem. Really? Well, if I have a customer that pays me $3 a mile,
That's good.
okay, running out of my town,
Which is Phoenix.
and I deliver one of their loads for $3 a mile in, let's say, New York, right? Upstate New York.
So he said upstate New York before I cut him off. So I did the math on that from Phoenix to Buffalo, which is upstate New York, I believe, right? It's in that area. That's a payout of around $6,600, $6,603 minus, let's say minus. I don't think fuel is this much right now, but let's say minus 1,500 for fuel to go there and to come back. It's probably about spot on with fuel. So now his payout jumped down to $5,103. And he's still got to do a backhaul to come back. So he's still going to make money to come back. He's probably not going to make $3 a mile coming back. He'll probably have to deal with a load broker to come back, which means he's probably going to be running something from the East Coast back to the West, you know, back to Arizona for like what? Under $2 a mile. Like what? $1.75, 65 or whatever. God forbid $1.50 a mile. Right? So he might be breaking even coming back, but at least he's not going all the way dead haul back. Because that would be horrible, right? That'd be really expensive to come back with no load. So now after fuel, we got paid $6,600, $3 a mile to go from AZ to New York. All right, to upstate New York. Because you don't want to go into actual New York. Fuck that. So after business costs, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be expensive here. And it all depends on what your business expenses are, right? Let's be expensive here and say his business cost after fuel is 2 grand. 2 grand. So let's shave off 2 grand, right? So his profit, his play money, his money that he gets to take home and, spend on his old lady and the kids and the bills and all that, for that load for $3 a mile, going from Phoenix to the East Coast to upstate New York, you know, it's pretty much half of that payout. It's $3,100. And this is just a wild guess. Plus the backhaul from the load broker. Okay. So we could probably add in profit, what? At the bare minimum, we could add 400 to that for the whole adventure. So he's profiting $3,500. So per trip, 2,200 miles from Buffalo to Phoenix equals 338 gallons times $4 a gallon, $1,350 in fuel. Buffalo to Phoenix. Okay. So let's shave off 100 because I calculated $1,500 in fuel. Oh no, that's just to go there. 2,200 miles. Oh damn. So you're saying I think you should go to college. You're a smart guy, get a degree. Um, that's expensive. It's gonna cost him $1,350 in fuel just to go there on the head haul at $3 a mile. Okay, so let's recalculate it. That means that means he has to shave off $2,600, $2,700 in fuel off of that. Okay, so let's do it again. So 6,600 take away 2,700 in fuel, right? So now we're profiting $3,900. With business costs like maintenance, taxes. Let's chop that in half. Let's take away 2 grand from that. So now the profit, the play money that we get to take home, not counting DEF, truck repairs, insurance. Yeah, okay. So like with all that, right? With all of that combined, he's probably profiting, like with his play money, his money that he gets to take home and go swimming in the pool with, right? Like his profit is $1,900, $1,500 to $1,900. But there's a backhaul. So we could add like in the profit, we could add what? Let's see. So 2,200 times, let's say he picks something up for $1.75 on the backhaul. Okay, so $1.75 a mile coming back from Buffalo to Phoenix, and it's probably not going to be in Buffalo. He might have to go one state over to pick up that backhaul. How much tax? 30% maybe. Yeah, So 3,850. So let's, with business cost, fuel. Well, otra vez with fuel, right? That's minus. We did the math on that. 2,700 for fuel. Oh, pobrecito, we're down to 1,150. God damn, we're down to 1,150 after fuel, dude. You might be breaking even. Might actually be going into the negative to go back home. He might be going into the negative $300 to come back home, and that's bringing back a load from a load broker. Fuck, that sucks. That's that's terrible. So that means with the head haul out and the back haul to come back, he's profiting about $1,400 after all of the business expenses, the fuel, the insurance, the well, we're gonna add DEF into the fuel, right? Because DEF is pretty cheap. Maintenance and all that. And how many days would that take to go from the West Coast to the East Coast? How many hours to drive from Phoenix to Buffalo, New York? Let's see, how many hours? 32 hours. Okay. Let's do it with our hours of service. Let's do it. 32 divided by 11. So it's 2.9 days. So it's like that'd be like 2 days to get there. And that's if everything goes good. 2 days and some change. So about 3 days to get there. 3 days to get there, 3 days to come back. That's like 5 to 6 days of work to profit, to bring home $1,500 in profit after your business expenses. And you're putting miles on your truck. Oh, man. Dude, it's going to take at least 3 days to get from Arizona to New York. Okay, yeah, it's going to take about 3 days to get from Phoenix to Buffalo. To have a profit, even with the backhaul, you know? Richard, where did you come up with that? That's one way, 30%. We pay that other 7% of self-employed tax company drivers don't. And that's and that's if everything goes right. We're not talking about if you have a tire that goes out, that blows out. We're not talking about road work, fucked up weather. You know what I'm saying? Where you're going from? It seems like a pretty easy route. Honestly, it does. You're going through Phoenix, Nevada. You're going out of Arizona. You're going to touch Nevada, New Mexico, Nevada, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, a little bit of Pennsylvania, and then to upstate New York. 8 states. You calculated fuel too many times. I think I did, right? I don't think the fuel is that expensive. I don't think we're paying $2,700 for the head haul. I don't think so, right? Because they can, Frank, because they can. Funny thing is these loads are worth more than they're paying you. Might haul $60K worth of product or millions in profit for the company. So why are they paying dog shit? Oh, you're saying they're going to make way more money, right? Getting their shit there than we're going to make hauling it. 500 miles a day, 4.4 days. No, not 4.4 days to get from Arizona. That you could knock that out in 3 days, right? Because you could. Well, yeah, that's if everything goes right. We don't know. What the hell is that noise? Oh, I thought it was raining outside or something. Yeah, I don't think the fuel is that much. Fuel is the biggest cost. Dude, here in California, where fuel is really high, it's higher than all these other states. California diesel, I could fuel up for like, I don't even see $700. Time at the shipper, yeah, time at the shipper too. Yeah, you don't know. So $700. Let's say he has to fuel up because he's going to have to fuel up to get there. I don't think he's going to be able to go there on one fuel up. They can because we give them the power. Unfortunately, if I refuse to haul at a price, some other guy will just do it. He talks about that too. You know what I really think it is? I don't think it's 2,700 to get there in fuel. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's going to be about 14 to 1,500 to get there. So let's redo the calculation. Okay. 6,600 take away 15 to get there. 15 to get there, 15 to get back. All right. Take away $3,000. Dude's going to take at least 2 fuel ups just one way. Yeah. Okay. So here in California, to fuel up my International with dual tanks, right? My sleeper, I seen it. It's I hit about like 650 to do both when I'm like really close to empty. So that's California. Okay. It'll be cheaper once you get out of California. All right. So, worst case scenario, he's paying about 1,500 to get there, 1,500 to get back in fuel. All right. So now our profit is 3,600. Okay. Now let's take away 2,500. I don't know, dude. I just don't know. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's stop guessing this. Okay, so we're at 3,600 minus 30%. Okay, so now we're at 2,520 after tax. Okay. Let's knock off another insurance. Let's see. 2,520. That's where we're at right now. How much is semi truckers insurance per month? Hey, yo, you guys would know this. How much is 1350 is one way? Yeah, just one way. So how much is truck insurance? How much is truckers insurance? Let's see. Semi truck insurance for those who work with the motor carrier. The average monthly cost is 300 to 400 per truck. For those who operate independently, the average monthly cost is 11 to 1,800 per truck. That's per month. Okay. All right. So, worst case scenario, let's say his truck insurance. I don't think his truck insurance is that much because Tommy's truck has a lot of miles on it. So his truck insurance, let's say it's 1,200 a month, right? By 4, it's 300. So okay. So after the taxes and the fuel, we're at 2,520 minus 300. Now we're at 2,220 for the profit. Maintenance, 22. I say let's knock off 500, just so we could invest in maintenance just for that load. 1,720. And let's say on the backhaul, because we already paid fuel, so the backhaul, we can add 1,720. They care about insuring you. One load, they're one load truck. Insurance doesn't care about your miles. Really? Truck insurance is expensive as fuck. Don't forget those 2 loads. It's always going to be high because you're driving a death machine. That's why companies want clean drivers. Well, dude, if I got a brand new Freightliner Cascadia with like 60,000 miles, this fool on his YouTube channel, Tommy's talking about he bought a fucking semi truck. I'm pretty sure it's an automatic transmission. I mean, a manual transmission. It has over 1,000,000 miles on that bitch. I don't think he has to get a discount for that. He's not paying 1,800 in insurance. It's still going to be expensive, but not that much, right? So we're at 1,720. Let's say in profit, plus 350 profit. It's about the same. It's about the same. His profit, he's bringing home about $2,000. That's maximizing his 70 and running, is it 3 days? It's 6 days. It's about the same. It's about the same, dude. Doesn't matter how new your truck is. If you have a dirty record, you're still going to have to pay up the ass for insurance. I don't think this guy that we're talking about, Trucking Unfiltered, I don't think he has a dirty record. Right? He's been doing this for a long time. I don't think he has a dirty record. If he had a dirty record, I don't think he'd be able to be in the position that he's in right now. That's why companies want clean drivers. He is a clean driver. You need to pay different types of insurance as an owner-op. You need liability in case you crash and hurt others. It's not like regular car insurance. Yeah, well, no shit, it's not like regular car insurance. You need full commercial. Yeah, we just looked up the price, right? For his truck, it'll be about like $1,500 a month. So his profit on this load going out at $3 a mile to upstate New York and then going back to Arizona, his profit will be about like $1,700 to $2,000 a week. I make that right here as a company driver on a dedicated route, just running from Central California, Tracy, Northern California, or whatever, the Bay, outside of the Bay, Tracy to Northern California, like way Northern California and back. And I'm here every other night. I take my time, right? Well, I mean, matter of fact, no, let me take that back. I make about 13 to 14 a week. All right. He's making a couple $100 more than me as an owner operator. And fucking, if I busted my ass, I could make that. Then there's a monthly truck payment. Yeah, I think we added that, we calculated all that into his business costs, right? Let's listen.
And I have to get back
Let's hear this.
5 years. Just it been dry. He's had it.
Let's listen.
Don't haul cheap freight. Know your worth.
What are you talking about? Everyone else is lying. What are you talking about? Only way you make good money as an owner op is if you have a connection to a dispatcher or a direct that gives you the best loads. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He has a direct customer out of Arizona that pays him $3 a mile. Everyone else is just lying. I know this because I'm a fuel dispatcher. If the truck is not paid for, listen to this. This is what I think you came in late. This is what we're reacting to.
Don't haul cheap freight. Know your worth. Just Trucking is always saying that. He's always saying those two things, right? Well, what's your definition of cheap freight? You know, what's his definition of cheap freight? Here's the thing. Is his theory on trucking working for him? I don't believe so. And a lot of you guys say, oh, he's got 2 houses. He's got 5, 6 cars. He's got boats. He's got jet skis. That did not come from trucking. That did not come.
It's not coming from trucking right now, right? No shit, of course, nobody wants to run cheap freight. It's not coming from trucking right now. Just Trucking got in during the pandemic. He made a lot of money in trucking during the pandemic, and he vlogged it on YouTube, okay? Those toys that he has, I'm sure they're paid off from back in the pandemic. But right now, Just Trucking is complaining a lot about low freight rates as an owner-operator, okay? That's what he's talking about.
The way he runs his truck, right? What about supply and demand, right? Has anybody heard of supply and demand? You know, there was this guy on the Asian My Show. He's been a trucker for about 25 years. He's had his CDL for about 25, 30 years, but he's only had his company for 1 year. 1 year. And he's talking about don't haul freight for under $2 a mile, or you're part of the problem.
Well, let's take that. So, if we could get a load, which it doesn't sound like this is what's going on right now. So we got a load coming out of Phoenix at $3 a mile, going from Phoenix to Buffalo to upstate New York, right? Now, if we were able to get a backhaul at $2 a mile, 2,200 times $2, that would pay out $4,400, right? Yeah, that would obviously help our profit margin a lot, way more than $1.75 a mile. Especially $1.50 a mile. You're going into the negative at $1.50 a mile, right? The reason why, but here's the thing. Trucking Unfiltered says, see, I'm a company driver, dude. This operator stuff it's a totally different world in trucking. It is, dude, because of the business thing. So Trucking Unfiltered, he said that a lot of these people that run cheap freight, like $1.50, they're able to still profit at $1.50 because they're running teams. You know what I'm saying? Like the foreigners that, like a lot of the Middle Eastern cats, like they're running two or three motherfuckers in the truck, in the trucks with the bunk bed, and they're just keeping they're keeping the wheels rolling, like with their cousins all in the truck and shit. I don't know. I don't even think that makes sense. Yeah, the truck is moving, but you're still paying fuel, right? And now you got to split up the payout between two or three motherfuckers. Like, I don't get it. It's really confusing, this stuff, dude. It sounds like to me, when I really dig into it, that company drivers are the ones that are winning right now, that we're making more money than owner operators right now. And that might not be forever, right? Nobody's profiting at $1.50 a mile. Yeah, of course. Or I don't know. I mean, he's saying that people are profiting at $1.50 a mile at those cheap rates that are running teams, right? Owner operator teams.
Really?
Is that because they could get in more miles and do more of those loads? Just guessing.
Well, if I have a customer that pays me $3 a mile, okay, running out of my town, and I deliver one of their loads for $3 a mile in, let's say, New York, right? Upstate New York. And I have to get back to Phoenix as fast as possible to pick up my next $3 load. Okay?
You profited $5 a mile an average when you ran. That's good money.
If I'm in upstate New York,
listen,
and I have a certain time limit to get back to Phoenix to pick up my next customer load, do you think I have the time to be dicking around out east or in the Midwest trying to bounce around getting 220, 220, 220? Or $2 to get back to Phoenix? Sure, I could probably string enough loads together. But what if I can't find $2 a mile from New York all the way back to my customer in Phoenix?
Because that's most likely going to be the deal. You're most likely not going to be able to find, a good paying load going from the East Coast or even the Midwest back to Phoenix to be back there in time to service your direct customer, right? The ideal thing obviously would be to get a direct customer out of Phoenix and then to get a direct customer from the East Coast to come back and you service both of them, and that's your dedicated lane, right? So you're making a lot of money going in, a lot of money coming back, right? But And maybe you could pull that off. I don't know.
Do you think I should pay? Should I pay for the privilege to drive back to Phoenix and get that next $3 load? Or should I take $1.75? Should I take $1.50?
Listen to what he said.
Do you think I have the time? Well, if I have a customer that pays me $3 a mile, okay, running out of my town, and I deliver one of their loads for $3 a mile in, let's say, New York, right? Upstate New York. And I have to get back to Phoenix as fast as possible to pick up my next $3 load, okay? If I'm in upstate New York and I have a certain time limit to get back to Phoenix to pick up my next customer load, do you think I have the time to be dicking around out east or in the Midwest trying to bounce around getting 220, 220, 220? Or $2 to get back to Phoenix? Sure, I could probably string enough loads together. But what if I can't find $2 a mile from New York all the way back to my customer in Phoenix? Do you think I should pay? Should I pay for the privilege to drive back to Phoenix and get that next $3 load?
Obviously not.
Or should I take $1.75? Should I take $1.50 to get back to Phoenix?
Well, you're paying at $1.50 because you're going into the negative, but I guess you're not paying that much, like a complete dead haul. You know what I'm saying? So I guess you're putting a little bit of dirt in the grave a little bit instead of just hopping in the grave with no dirt, you know?
To get back to that next $3 mile load that I know is waiting in Phoenix for me. As often as I can get back to Phoenix and grab that load, right? Does anybody ever think about that? See, the people that have been in business 1, 2, 3, 5 years,
Well, here's the thing about that. You got to think about your hours of service. If it took you 3 days to go from Phoenix to Buffalo, it's going to take you 3 days to get back, even if you take a load at $1.50. But by the time you get back, and if you're running like that all week, that means you're maximizing your 70-hour clock. By the time you get back to Phoenix, you're not going to have the hours to pick up another load and to go back out east. You're going to have to do a 34-hour reset before you can go back on the road because you're not going to have enough recap hours to run 3 days to do that load. You get what I'm saying? Man, dude, I guess long haul trucking isn't the way to go right now, huh? I guess fuck. It sounds like it's rough out there, dude.
have any dedicated customers.
So he just said it's $13.50 in fuel one way, no load back, do another $13.50 fuel back. Our biggest cost is labor. We pay them $250 to $300 a person. I only do 40,000 miles a year. No, but he's gonna get a load coming back. Homeboy right here, he's talking about getting a load back that's not gonna pay as much. So he's not, he's not absorbing the whole cost coming back to Phoenix.
They don't have any customers that say, we've got 10 loads per week that you have to move. And if you can't move those 10 loads a week, then next year, when we go looking for that carrier to move these loads, you're not going to be that carrier, right? Has Just Trucking ever thought of something like that?
Let's rewind it.
As often as I can get back to Phoenix and grab that load, right? Does anybody ever think about that? See, the people that have been in business 1, 2, 3, 5 years, they don't have any dedicated customers. They don't have any customers that say, we've got 10 loads per week that you have to move. And if you can't move those 10 loads a week, then next year, when we go looking for that carrier to move these loads, you're not going to be that carrier, right? Has Just Trucking ever thought of something like that?
So you're talking about the business side of it. Because when you're an owner-operator, you're a business, okay? You are. That's what he's talking about right now.
Does that guy on the Asian My Show that said, don't move nothing for under $2 a mile, you're a part of the problem, has he ever had a customer that said, hey, we will give you one load every 3 days or every 5 days? Mandatory. We will give you that load for 9 months straight. But if you miss one load, we are going to move on to the next carrier. And we are going to give them that load. And then you have no loads ever again from us, because you can't fulfill your obligation to us. So, when you have a driver across the country, or if you're an owner-operator and you're on the other side of that country, and you have to get back across the country to fulfill the obligation that you made to that customer, are you going to be dicking around saying, oh, I can't get back to pick up your load because I can't find a load for $2 a mile or more?
Well, yeah. I mean, because if you do that, you're going to lose your direct customer, right? Look, business is totally different than being employed, dude. To be in business means that you're out there fucking, you got to do the Donald Trump, dude. You got to be a savage out there, right? You got to find a direct customer, right? I think if you're going to do long haul, the best way to do it is to go from one busy part of the country to another busy part of the country and get a direct customer on both sides. Hopefully your direct customer that you're working for out of Phoenix could get you a backhaul on the same route, to come back, right? I'm sure that could happen if you're hauling freight as the owner operator for like Swift or JB Hunt, whatever, right? For a mega carrier. But the problem with them is aren't people complaining that the mega carriers are giving out like cheap freight? I don't know, dude. I just don't know.
No.
The ideal thing is to find a manufacturer, right? If I become an owner operator out of California, I have a direct customer already, but it's a family tie, right? I would still have to fulfill my obligation and show up with my insurance and everything that I need and the right equipment that they're going to demand of me. But I would have a direct customer. That's why I'm kind of floating the idea of trying it out, But man, it's a lot. Becoming an owner operator is no joke, dude. You go bankrupt doing that shit. You fuck up your whole finances. All your finances get fucked up if you fail.
You're going to take that $1.40, $1.50, $1.75, and you're going to come back and you're going to service your customer, because that's how business relationships are built. Okay? You got these guys talking about, I sit my truck down. I'll sit my truck for a whole month if the rates aren't good enough. Okay, but here's the thing. You are never going to find rates big enough to make up for the month that you just sat that truck down for. So your dumbass just lost out on $25,000 to $26,000 worth of revenue. How are you going to make up that $26,000 in revenue? Huh? Answer me that question. How are you going to make that up? Another thing I hear Just Trucking talking about is we don't need the brokers. We should just get rid of these brokers. These brokers are taking all the money. Brokers aren't worth anything. They're just getting in the way. They're just making it a hassle. What about this? Let me give you a scenario.
A lot of owner operators say that. A lot of owner operators don't like load brokers.
A 100 truck company has an in-house brokerage, right? So 100 truck company,
that's mainly like the mega carriers. Definitely most of the time, I'm pretty sure Knight has an in-house brokerage. Swift most likely does too. Fucking John Chrysler Trucking, JCT, they probably have one. GP Transco, I don't know if you could be an owner operator with GP Transco. They probably do. But, you know, working for a carrier would be good for a backhaul. But you would at least want to have a direct customer for your head haul, right? You're trying to maximize your profit.
well, and they secure freight. They secure direct customer freight. They got 100 trucks. But let's say for 6 to 8 months out of the year, they can't handle all the volume. So what do they do for 8 months out of the year? That carrier with that 100 trucks and that in-house brokerage, they broker out the excess loads that they can't handle from their direct customer. All right? They got good freight. They got decent paying freight. Okay? They're not really.
What's decent paying freight? $2 a mile, or $1.90 mile, $1.80, $1.85, $1.90 a mile. I'm guessing that's what decent freight is, because I guess good paying freight, especially in this market, is $2 a mile. Is that what that is? When people say it's decent freight, it's decent paying freight, I wish people would be more specific. That way we get the full picture, especially as company drivers who don't know about this owner operator shit, right? That way we can get we can do the math in our head.
No money off the top, because those loads, those excess loads that they can't handle, that they handle from their direct customer. All right? They got good freight. They got decent paying freight. Okay? They're not really skimming no money off the top, because those loads, those excess loads that they can't handle, that they go to a preferred carrier to move for them, they want to take care of that preferred carrier, because this isn't a one-off load. This isn't a load board load. This is excess freight from their customer that they are obligated to reliably move. So they're going to find that reliable outside carrier or preferred carrier to move that excess freight.
Well, they're still going to take a little bit off the top, right? For example, like say that happens at CR England on a Walmart account, right? Say CR England has all this Walmart freight on their Walmart account, and the volume is just so high that they have to get owner operators that are leased onto their company from time to time or full time to take some of this Walmart freight off of the account's hands. That way they're still able to service their customer Walmart, right? If CR England gave the broker that's leased onto their company the full payment that they give the account, not the driver, not the company driver, we get cents on the mile, right? That they pay off the account with, right? And then we get our piece. We get our 50 cents, 60 cents a mile, or whatever, right? After the DM gets paid, after, everyone in the office gets paid. You get what I'm saying, right? I'm sure taking a little bit off the top to the owner operators that are leased onto the company, that's a part of the contract, right? My wife is a nanny now. She watches one kid, makes $1,500 a week, works 40 hours. Anything more than 40 hours is time and a half. That's good. That's good. Is she? I think you told me about that before. that she was going to work for some rich people or whatever. She W-2. You need to take into account the cost of fuel compared to the rate, and then and you're still causing wear and tear to your truck. Also, you still have to take care of yourself. Oh yeah, of course.
So they're going to pay you a decent rate, right? They might not give you the rate that you want, but they're going to give you a decent, affordable rate. And then they're going to turn around and say, and we can guarantee you, if you take this rate, we have 1 load per week for you, or we have 2 loads per week for you, or shit. You know, we might have 30 loads a week for you, okay?
Well, yeah, it depends, right? If you're doing short haul, especially like extremely short haul, say you're running from like, for example, say you're running from Bakersfield to Delano, right? You could probably do what? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 6 days a week. You could easily do 5 loads a day running from short haul from like Bakersfield to Delano. And say you're doing the doubles and you're doing tomatoes, right? Like a lot of those guys in that part of the Central Valley do, in Kern County do. You could run 5 loads. You could probably run more than 5 loads a day running tomatoes from Bakersfield to Delano, right? Or from Tulare to McFarland, or Tulare to Delano. You could easily do 5 loads a day up and down the 99 like that, right?
Depends on the carrier we're talking about. But that's a broker relationship. That's a broker with a brokerage. Okay, so does that mean all brokers need to be gone? No, because without that 100 power unit carrier, you, as the single truck guy, would not have been able to walk into that customer and say, hey, we want to haul loads for you. They're going to say, no, you have 1 truck and 1 trailer. We want to deal with a carrier that is got capacity, that has plenty of capacity to move our stuff.
Yeah, for example, say there's a toilet paper manufacturer or a paper manufacturer right down the street from where you park your truck, and you're a single truck owner operator, and you go to this manufacturer, you say, hey, I want to move your freight, right? Like all owner operators want to deal with the manufacturer directly. That's the ultimate direct customer, is you get the product directly off the loading dock as the owner operator, and you move that shit and you come back and do it again, right? You know, with all the options of carriers, they'll probably tell you no. Maybe they might tell you yeah, but they might tell you no, right? That's when a lot of people say. And then as an owner operator, it might be laziness of, because when you have a truck and you're an owner operator in trucking, there's so much that you could do. There's so much that you could haul, right? In Northern California, guys haul logs. You could haul garbage. You could haul, you know, like those compressed like box things of like recycled cans, like recycling and shit, pallets, right? There's just so much that you could haul. I think if an owner operator really put the, you know, like got real business savvy and went out there and pitched people and sold your trucking business, you know what I'm saying? But to sell your trucking business, you're going to have history, like work history as an owner operator. It would look a lot better going to a manufacturer after you'd been hauling freight as an owner operator leased on to a mega carrier, and you could say, hey, look, I have a good track record of servicing this mega carrier that I've been leased onto. I want to move your freight. What's up? Right? Rather than someone who just goes out and buys a truck and doesn't have owner operator work history, might have company driver work history, but not owner operator work history, and goes to a manufacturer and says, hey, I want to move your shit. They'll probably tell you to fuck off. You know what I mean? Because they don't know, right? It's one thing to run as a company driver, you know, on a laid back job like mine, where I don't really got to worry. I could start when I want. I could take my time. But if you're an owner operator, you might be on a tight schedule. You might be moving some serious shit, right? Not even hazmat, just like general freight, but you might be on a tight schedule. There's a lot of money involved, right? Because you're the company. That's why a lot of people just lease onto a carrier, because it's a lot easier.
So,
and then the scheduling might be a little better too. And they're probably, because to be an owner operator, it's kind of the same thing as being a company driver. You make a career out of that, right? I mean, Trucking Unfiltered made a video responding to, I think, to this guy Trucks, talking about, motherfucker, you've been owner operator, a lease purchase owner operator for the past 10 years, and you're over here bitching. How come you're not hauling yachts? How come you're not doing step deck? How come you're not hauling glass or this? How come you haven't stepped up and like niched out? You're still doing dry van 10 years later. What the fuck? And I started thinking, you probably make good money hauling a yacht as an owner operator, right? Especially compared to dry van general freight. If you niche out like that, if you're doing oversized loads, right? You probably make really good money. I'm willing to bet that's really where the money's at, is specialized niche freight. Like if you're moving like ridiculous oversized shit like wind turbines and yachts and very expensive boats, you know what I mean? And like really expensive steel, right? That's probably where the real money's at. Not so much in like dry van and like reefer.
it's not always a carrier. That's another reason they go to a broker. A direct shipper, a customer, a manufacturer goes to a broker, okay? Because that manufacturer doesn't have the time and doesn't want to mess with 200 different owner operators, okay?
Yeah, they don't.
So what they do is they sign a contract with a broker and they give their freight to a broker, and that broker is the one who does all the legwork to find 200 owner operators to move those 200 loads a month.
Just imagine how much of a bitch of a job that is. You got to call all these truckers, and like talk to them and argue with them about pricing and stuff. Because being a broker is a job. I mean, it's an easier job than being a truck driver. I'm sure it's still stressful, but you don't got to worry about chaining up and fucking driving over black ice and shit. You're just chilling in the office. You're on the phone all day, right? You're kind of like a stock trader or whatever, but you're that gap in between the manufacturer and the truck. You're that business to business transaction. You're the gap, right? So I guess there is a need for brokers. There is, because if it wasn't for the broker, the manufacturer would have to find a trucker in this big pool of truck drivers, right? They'd rather just have the broker deal with that.
Week or a year, whatever the case may be, right? There is a time and place for brokers. Okay? Not only does the single truck owner operator need brokers in their corner, because they don't have the time or the money or the expertise to go chase down customers. Okay? But the shipper, the manufacturer, the big customer, they need brokers. Because their business is not running logistics. Their business is not freight forwarding. Their business is growing, planting, growing, and picking and shipping strawberries, right?
Yeah.
So why should they go into the business of shipping and logistics? Why should they have to deal with all that? Their expertise is growing and packaging strawberries. A broker's expertise is finding the carriers that can move the strawberries. So there's a place for all these people. Just Trucking likes to talk a big game. A big game. But he's too ADD to build any kind of customer relationships. And when I say customer, I don't mean the strawberry producer. I'm talking about the brokerage or.
Well, yeah, dude, he got banned from TQL, and his highest viewed video is this. Just Trucking's highest viewed video is this. Is him being problematic to his customer that was unloading him. This is the first time I've ever seen Just Trucking. This was like 2 years ago, right? It was this. And looking back on it now that I'm a truck driver, it's like, dude, and especially airing it out on YouTube like that.
Oh, you're sitting in, you can go sit in the truck though until Anderson County gets here. So
Okay, are they on the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, thanks a lot, man. I called you too.
Get the cops called on him. Walgreens DC calls police on me. Day in the life OTR trucking fails. Oh, ay Dios mío.
Carrier that has freight. One thing I would be doing if I was just trucking that he's not doing and he's not telling you guys to do, or he's not insinuating that you should do it, is he should be calling on every asset-based carrier in his area. What's an asset-based carrier? It's a carrier that has assets. They have trucks and trailers.
Okay.
Because they have the capacity to go to a shipper and say, look, we've got 20, 30, 50, 100 trucks. We would like to move your product. Deal with us and us only, and we will make you happy, right? The reason Just Trucking needs to call on some of these asset-based carriers that have in-house brokerages is because they have the freight. Not only do they have the freight, but they've already signed up a contract with the producer of the goods and gave them a promise. They've given them a guarantee. So it's in their best interest to have a network of one truck owner operators in the Simpsonville area.
Yeah, so I get it. So Just Trucking, he's dealing with all these different brokers. But if he made a relationship with even just like, especially with just one broker that can continuously give him a load for maybe, different pickups, right, from different manufacturers. But even if he, would get 2 or 3 solid loads a week, right? Just Trucking. One. So, all right, so one going out, 1, 2, 3. He could run like, Just Trucking doesn't want to work that hard. He could get 2 loads a week out of South Carolina, going down to Tampa or Jacksonville or anywhere in Florida that he likes, because that's where he runs. He goes from either South Carolina to Georgia or South Carolina. Mainly, it seems like he goes to Florida a lot, right? Cool. It's all good. That's regional. You could even say that it's short haul, depending on how hard you run. Instead of like calling up all these different brokers and like scrambling to get a load and then complaining that the rates are so low, like pretty much job shopping all week. If he just, became like, got a really good relationship with one broker, he'd be fine. He'd be fine, dude. And he'd probably, especially if he serviced that broker really good, he'd probably get higher rates. And that would fix his problem on getting dicked around for like $1.25, $1.50 a mile. He'd probably see $1.75, $2 a mile, right? If he showed a broker like, hey, I can move your freight and I'm always going to be here for you. Hook me up. And he probably would. Maybe not all the time, but every now and then, right? Enough for him to stop complaining.
So when they don't have enough trucks and trailers to move their customers' loads, who do they call? They call Just Trucking. They don't put those loads on the load board because they have a network of single truck carriers like Justin that they can rely on, that they can call on to get those loads moved, right?
See, so Trucking Unfiltered here, he's not hating. There's people in the comments talking about, oh, you're a hater and all that. You know what I'm saying? Look, right here. Mira. Justin does him, you do you. Stop hating on Justin. Right? You know, these guys, they fucking love Justin. It's so cringy, dude. Um, but Trucking Unfiltered, Tommy, he's really just giving some advice to Just Trucking if he's going to watch this video, which he may or may not, right? He might look at Tommy as a troll because Tommy does so many videos on Just Truck. So Justin's probably at this point like, man, fuck this fool, you know? But if he watched the video, I mean, he's just giving him some advice, right? That's all he's doing.
So back to the whole myth of know your worth, don't haul nothing under $2 a mile.
Okay.
If you're hauling every single load that you pull for under $2 a mile, that's your business, okay? If you are profitable at under $2 a mile, that is your business. That is your...
But a lot of people aren't. Running a truck is really expensive. It's more expensive than under $2 a mile. It is.
Business model. Do you think Wendy's and McDonald's and Five Guys and Steak and Shake and Shake Shack all get together and say, hey guys, don't sell those burgers for under $6. Don't sell those burgers for under $6. You're messing it up for everybody.
Price fixing.
No, man. No. We are business people out here. Okay? It's none of my business if the guy next to me wants to take $1.50 a mile. Because eventually, if that's a too low of a rate, he's gonna go out of business. And once all those $1.50 carriers go out of business, guess what the broker's gonna see? The broker's gonna see that $1.50 is not the market, okay? Because he's...
Well, why hasn't that happened yet? Right? There must be a lot of owner-operators out there because 2020 was a long time ago. 2022 was 2 years ago. We're wrapping up this year. I would think that most of those owner-operators would be out of business and the market would be freed up, which would mean rates would go back up because there'd be less truck drivers, especially less owner-operator truck drivers, which
have less trucks in the market because he drove them out of business. So eventually, the only people that are going to be left are the $2 a mile carriers. And
right? Why hasn't that happened yet? There must be a lot of owner-operators out there. This problem must be really big. That, and I already know what's going to happen in the comments on the replay. People are going to blame the foreigners, right? But here's the thing, dude. If you're running a $1.25, $1.50 a mile on a big-ass semi tractor trailer, right? Maybe you're profitable if you're running Amazon loads for that cheap and you don't own the trailer and you just own the bobtail, right? The tractor. And then, you know, you're just hooking up to the Amazon trailer and taking it from here to there at a cheap rate at $1.50. Because all right, so now your business model is cheaper because you're not making payments on the trailer. You don't have to pay, you don't have to make up for what you spent on the trailer if you bought it in full cash. You're not doing maintenance on the trailer, right? You see what I'm saying? So everyone's business model is different, very different. But if you're running teams for that cheap, I still don't know if you're going to be profiting for that cheap, especially teams, because now you got to split the payment between two drivers.
to be forced to give up $2 a mile.
Unless if you and that other driver is like your brother, you see what I'm saying? And unless if you and that other driver is a family member and you guys are both taking the hit to grow your business. So you guys are both okay with just being broke and just taking all of your money, taking a little bit out so you can go buy a cheeseburger or whatever, right? So you can have some money to eat and to pay your necessities, but the bulk of your guys' money is going back into the business and growing the business. That's probably what the foreigners are doing. That's probably how they're keeping the rates down, and it's probably why they're putting everybody out of business. You see how that works? People were complaining about the foreigners. Run like the foreigners, right? Take the hit, grow your business. That's business 101. Take all your money and invest it back into the business. Be broke right now, but take all your money and invest it back into the business. AKA, take all your money and buy more trucks. That's what they're doing, right? That's why the rates are down. It's not, yeah, it's because of the pandemic, but it's because the foreigners are out here running you guys out of business. They're team driving and they're taking all that money and they're taking the financial hit now, but they're growing their trucking company for later, right?
So eventually, the only people that are going to be left are the $2 a mile carriers. And he's going to be forced to give up $2 a mile on that load, or he's not going to be able to move that load. That's how business works. That is supply and demand. That is basic elementary economics. And people refuse to believe this. This is how it works. It's not about sticking to your guns or you're going to mess it up for everybody else. I don't care about everybody else. Everybody else is not my business. I'm my business. I'm not a member of a union for a reason. Okay? Now, if companies get together and price fix, that's also illegal, right? So all those people that say we should unionize, we should get a truckers union together so we could drive the rates back up, that's actually price fixing.
Well, here's the thing about that. I think so. A lot of Trucking Unfiltered, his content is centered around being an owner operator because that's what he is. And I think even when he was a company driver, he was still like a 1099 company driver, right? Now he's a full on owner operator. He owns his own unit, the tractor and the trailer. He got a good deal on it, right? Which means his business costs are lower than, than especially lower than a California owner op who needs to buy a newer truck to operate in the state. So, owner operators, they can't unionize as far as I know because unionizing in a workplace only happens amongst employees, right? W-2 employees that, have healthcare benefits and all that shit. People who work at McDonald's and who are employed by McDonald's by the franchise, straight up employees, not 1099 owner operators or people that are in business for themselves, they unionize. They could unionize at McDonald's, Wendy's, the employees. They could get in the kitchen and say, fuck that, we're in the union now. They could all sign a petition, become a union, and that store is unionized. And now, they could picket and bargain for better wages and all that. Owner operators can't even unionize because they're business owners. They can't unionize. Who are they going to bark orders at? At the load brokers? At the carriers? It's not going to work because they don't work for no one. They work for themselves, right? Yeah. And let's say company drivers, the whole industry were to unionize. I don't think that's price fixing. That's within like the what is it called? Something like negotiations. There's some word for it, right? It's some union talk, right? They negotiate their wages. That's wages for employees. I don't think that has anything to do with owner operators.
I believe it's illegal. As a matter of fact, stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to do a video about the Justice Department who just charged a bunch of gasoline companies for fixing the price of gasoline.
Gavin Newsom did that in California. I think he sued them. I know he made some stupid law talking about they got to have reserves now, it's going to drive the price of gas up, dude.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts. That's mostly facts. There's a little bit of opinion thrown in there, but listen, economics is facts. Supply and demand are facts. Okay? Profit margin are facts. What one person can run his truck at and be profitable is not what everybody can run to be profitable. So those guys that can't be profitable at $1.80, that are crying and complaining that the guys that can be profitable at $1.80 are screwing it up for everybody, no. Those people have a more expensive business model. So if you can't make money at $1.50, $1.80, $1.90, at least on the backhaul, maybe not going out of town, but maybe coming back into your customer. You know, even if you're running $1.75, $1.85 on every single one of your loads, if you are profitable at that, keep running your truck at $1.80. Fuck everybody else. Okay? We're not in this business for everybody else. We are in this business for ourselves and our families. Okay? Now, if you can be profitable at $1.80 year round, woo! My hat goes off to you, because
that's low.
And that's another thing. Being profitable, as in you could pay all your household bills and you can keep the truck on the road, is a totally different subject than being profitable in the sense that you can invest in more assets. Okay? There's a huge difference there. Profiting $500 a month is a lot different than profiting $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Now, profiting $500 a month, you're eventually probably going to go out of business. Okay? But that's your business. I don't care. That doesn't mean that the rates are going to stay at $1.80 forever. If you can,
But dude, it's been low for a long time, man. The rates have been low for a long time.
afford $1.80, then you're going to eventually go out of business. And by you going out of business and you and a whole bunch of other people going out of business, you will eventually drive the rates back up.
Free up the market.
So, you know, sitting your truck down for weeks or months at a time, waiting for the rates, waiting for the good rates, that doesn't do anything but screw you up. That's all it does. All right, that's all I got on the subject for now. If you like conversations like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for me. Thank you.
Well, that was the video. What do you guys think about that? Do you think he had some points there? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of content about being an owner-operator. Someone's making money in this shit. There's people that are making more money than company drivers. But then when I listen to these folks, it sounds like they're not making money. It's so confusing. It's so confusing, dude, because I know for sure the rates are cheap right now. That's all that I'm hearing is the rates are cheap. On some of these Facebook groups that I'm in and I used to be in and I got kicked out for talking shit, a lot of them were saying like, dude, how are you guys even staying afloat? How are you guys even, able to spend money on a tire and all that without putting on a credit card, dude? I don't got to worry about that as a company driver. As a company driver, let me end the live stream with this. Let me read some comments or any late comments. But that's just me. Oh, they were talking amongst themselves. I can't afford to live in the U.S. It's expensive out here. My wife is a stay-at-home wife in Mazatlan. Orale. All right. So, let me end it with this. I'm going to switch the topic real quick. All right. Kamala Harris. She's most likely going to win this election. I know a lot of you guys like Donald Trump. I know most of you guys want him to win. It's most likely not going to happen. Let me tell you why. Okay. And I'm bringing this back to trucking. If you're a company driver, you're going to be in a good position under Kamala Harris, under the Harris administration. Kamala Harris, if you just listen to her and her proposals, what she wants to do, she's going to cause a recession and a housing crash like 2008, probably worse than 2008, because this time it's not going to be a bunch of banks. It's going to be the government itself causing the housing crash. Okay. And they're going to cause a recession on top of it. So, yeah, it's most likely going to be worse than 2008. And it's most likely going to last longer than 2008, especially the recession. We're in a recession right now. The first 2 years under Biden weren't that bad financially. All right. Kamala Harris, she's anti business. She's an anti business California Democrat. Okay. Wall Street wants her in because they want the recession. When there's a recession, when the economy slows down, that means the stock prices get really cheap because we enter a bear market, right? And you're able to buy stocks right there in your 401k and in your Roth IRA. You're able to get good deals on stocks. You're able to buy Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Walmart for pennies on the dollar compared to what they used to be in a bull market, okay? That people are going to lose their jobs. She's talking about she's going to raise corporate tax. That's your mega carriers. That she's going to raise their taxes. All right. I'm relating this to trucking, right? Those are your big load brokers like TQL. All right. She's going to raise corporate tax. All right. So that's going to cause everything to go up, and that's going to cause business to slow down. Okay. That's going to cause hiring to slow down because it's going to be really expensive to hire. And on top of that, she's going to put in a bunch of environmental anti-business regulations on the business world. That's what they're doing in California. That's why in California, San Francisco is no longer the tech capital of the world. No, Austin is like the tech capital of the world. Nashville, Tennessee is getting a lot of these tech companies. Arizona, Phoenix is getting a lot of these tech companies, right? Dallas, Houston, they're getting all this money. They're getting all these tech companies. Cleveland, Ohio, they're getting all these corporate businesses now. They're leaving California because California under Gavin Newsom is anti-business, is pushing all these businesses out. That's what's going to happen to the whole United States when Kamala Harris gets in. She's going to raise corporate tax. She's going to raise capital gains tax on businesses. She's going to raise taxes in general. And this is what's going to happen. And like I said, she's going to put in a bunch of new regulations that's going to slow down business. That's going to make running a business cost a lot of money. It's going to be too expensive to do business in the United States for manufacturing, for fracking, for the tech industry, for biotech industry, for healthcare, for logistics like us, you know what I'm saying? Luckily with trucking, we're like, um, what kind of jobs, what did they call like health workers and truck drivers during the pandemic? It was a necessary job. It was a something type of job to where we were still able to work, but other people, their jobs got shut down. Essential workers. There you go. Thank you for answering that. Fuck. We're an essential worker. We're an essential part of the economy. Okay. Good luck running us out, right? Especially sleeper cab drivers, right? Sleeper cab drivers, right? People don't want to do this. Everyone wants local work. Local workers, local truck drivers, they're going to have their jobs. But sleeper cab truckers, people that don't want to do this, and especially people who don't want to work for mega carriers, we're going to be in a good place. Our jobs are pretty much going to be solid. Everyone else is going to be losing their jobs, okay? Because of Kamala Harris, like I said, she's going to do all these corporate capital gains tax. Corporate taxes are going to go up. Taxes are going to go up. Business taxes are going to go up. She's going to put in environmental regulations on businesses, on the corporate world. That's going to cause everything. When taxes go up, everything goes up, okay? For example, CR England, they deliver freight to Walmart. They charge Walmart 20 grand a month to deliver their freight to that store, right? Well, Walmart, the Harris administration, the government raised our capital gains, corporate tax. They raised all of our taxes, and now we got these new regulations in place. So I know it was $20,000 a month, your bill. Now it's $29,000 a month. Sorry, Walmart, but we had to up the prices on you because of taxes, right? Walmart goes, fuck, okay, I'll do it. Here's your 29 grand. Even though I was paying 20, here's your 29 grand. Everything in the store is going to go up because of that up price. And on top of that, Walmart themselves are going to get hit with these same taxes. All right. So everything's going to go up. Okay. And on top of that, because everything's going to go up and there's going to be new regulations, right, on business, it's going to be really expensive to hire people. So they're going to outsource, they're going to automate a lot of these jobs. They're going to, especially manufacturing and stuff, they're going to say, you know what, fuck this. Coca-Cola is going to be like, you know what, I don't want to produce my Coca-Cola bottles, my glass bottles in the United States no more. I'm going to take my bottling company to Mexico, to China, and I'm just going to ship everything in because it's cheaper that way. Because doing it in the United States, it's going to cost too much money. So that manufacturing plant that was in Washington, that was in Spokane, Washington, we're truck drivers. We know all these manufacturing plants because we pick them up, right? These places are going to start shutting down. You see what I'm saying? Not all of them, but a lot of them, a good enough of them to cause a recession, right? These places are going to go overseas, and the ports are going to get busy because they're going to be shipping a lot of stuff in, right? People are going to lose their jobs. That's what's going to happen. And then what's she going to do with housing? She's going to give people $25,000 for first-time home buyers, okay? The problem with that is that's what they did in 2008. The banks did it. They were giving out these mortgage-backed securities to Tom, Dick, and Harry, who works at McDonald's, who can't afford a fucking home. So, and on top of that, they were reselling the debt to all these other investment banks and upping the interest rates at every sale. So every sale, they were able to make a commission, to make a profit off of it. And the homeowner was left holding the bag, and the interest rates kept going up and up and up and up on their mortgage to the point where they were priced out of their home and they were foreclosed on. So what's going to happen with Kamala Harris is that she's going to give you $25,000 to buy your first home, okay? You, the truck driver, you're probably going to be able to pay your mortgage, okay, because you make good money. But the person who's getting this 25 grand who's working at McDonald's because, she upped the minimum wage, so now they think they can buy a home off working at fucking McDonald's, they're not going to be able to afford their mortgage. They're going to get foreclosed on, right? And if banks have anything to do with these loans, which they will because it's still buying a home and just a down payment that she's helping you out with, the interest rates, with these government down payments are going to be up. They're going to raise the interest rates as much as they can, especially on people that they know can't afford it, right? There's going to be so many foreclosures. You're going to get people that are getting this 25 grand that have no business buying a home. But a lot of people are stupid, and they're going to think, oh, the government's giving me some money for my first time buying a home. Thank you. They're going to take it, and they're going to get foreclosed on. In a recession, when people are losing their jobs, these same people that are losing their jobs are going to get foreclosed on. So when that happens, when all these foreclosures happen across the country, from California to New York to Ohio to Miami to all across the country, there's going to be these foreclosures, okay? Real estate's going to come crashing down. There's going to be a recession. People are not going to have money. There's going to be cheap stocks on the market, and there's going to be cheap housing on the market because of foreclosures. You're going to be able to buy these foreclosures, right? Just imagine a place like Michigan and Ohio, where right now it's still pretty cheap to buy in Michigan and Ohio compared to Arizona and a lot of parts of Texas. Ohio and Michigan are substantially, noticeably cheaper to buy a house. Now, just imagine how cheap those homes, those turnkey homes, right? Not the fucked up ones, like the good houses in like suburb towns, like nice suburb towns, maybe not in like ghetto ass Toledo or Detroit, but maybe like Grand Rapids, Michigan, right? Imagine how cheap those homes are going to be in a housing crash when people who get this 25 grand and they get foreclosed on because they couldn't afford the fucking thing in the first place. Imagine how cheap you're going to be able to buy a home in Grand Rapids, Michigan. A home that was 200 grand, it's going to probably come down to like 45 or 50 grand. A 4-bedroom home with the attic and a basement and a big old driveway and a huge yard. You're going to be able to buy this fucking thing in the foreclosures for pennies on the dollar, for like 40 grand. a turnkey property in nice places like Grand Rapids or like Tiffin, Ohio. You see what I'm saying? Right? If you're a truck driver and you're living in your truck, right? And you don't have all these, if you have a family, it's going to be tough because a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs, dude, and shit's going to get expensive. The more liabilities you have, you're going to feel it under the Kamala Harris administration, right? But if you're single and you live in the semi truck and you have disposable income and you make really good money, right? The ports are going to be busy because the manufacturing is going to be coming in. It's not going to be being built right here in the United States under the Harris administration, okay? You're going to have money to invest in the recession. If she gets in office, she's going to serve 2 terms, okay? You're going to have 8 years of investing in a recession and buying homes in a housing crash, right? You're going to be able to clean up when the next administration gets in office after the Harris administration. It's going to be more of like a Trump pro-American, not Donald Trump himself. He's going to be way too old, right? Might be his son, might be someone else, might be JD Vance himself, right? Running for president. The next administration is going to get in and they're going to fix all of this economic disaster that Harris is by design is going to do, okay? That's going to cause the bull market. Then we're going to go from a recession to, like the economy is going to get back on track and it's going to do really good. And you have 4 to 8 years of buying stocks, bonds, index funds, ETFs, 401ks, Roth IRAs, and of course, the most of all, real estate during the housing crash and during the recession. You got all this money, all this cheap stocks that you've been just pouring your money into. In the next bull market, you're going to make all kinds of money, dude. And if you think Trump's going to win, he might. Don't count on it. Don't count on it, dude. Kamala Harris is an establishment politician, and the establishment is backed by Wall Street. This is why Donald Trump is getting all the bad press, why he's racist, whatever, homophobic, he's Hitler, he's the dictator, all that. He's everything under the sun because Wall Street doesn't want him in. If he gets in, manufacturing will come back. The prices of certain goods are going to go up due to his tariffs, but in the long run, it's going to bring manufacturing back. There's going to be a bull market. Stock prices are going to go up, which means home prices are going to go up. Gas is going to come down because he's going to build the Keystone Pipeline. He's going to finish the border wall. He's going to do everything that he says, right? The left is going to fight him tooth and nail, his whole administration, right? And it's going to be easier to find a job under Donald Trump. It is, because the economy is going to be doing good. He's going to be pro-business. He's going to get rid of all these regulations that the Harris administration put in on business, right? You'll be able to get a good job. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to make money for the long term, if you want to make millions of dollars, if you really want to get rich out here for the long term, in the next like 10 years, because it's 2 administrations. You're going to need the Harris administration. She's going to cause the recession. Okay, that's why they want her in. That's why Wall Street wants her in. All right, and she's telling you everything that she's going to do. If you listen to everything that she's going to do, and you look at the state that she comes from, California, the whole country is going to end up like California, and worse, dude, worse, bro. Right? Her 25 grand down payment program, that's going to cause a housing crash. Okay, with the recession, you're going to be able to clean up when the next administration comes in after her, and we go back into a bull market, and you've been buying all these cheap stocks. If you have a trucking job right now, stay. It's too volatile right now to switch carriers. It is. It's too volatile. I wouldn't become an owner operator right now. It's too volatile, dude. You know what I'm saying? You could lose everything right now, right? You lose a job and Kamala Harris becomes president. Oh man, dude, she could start the recession within a few months, right? Things are bad. We're in a recession right now, but we're just in the beginning of the recession. Especially if Kamala gets in, we're going to be in a real recession. Okay? And especially if we end up in a war with Iran, oh man, that's just going to speed up the process of the recession, you know? So that's what's to come. Okay, I wanted to talk about that because the election is really close. I don't want to get political. I'm not like pro Trump or pro Kamala. Nah, man, you got to think about this when it comes to money. What do they talk about? Women's reproductive rights, gun rights, freedom of speech, climate change, global warming. What else? Infrastructure, right? These wars, the border. None of that matters. Do you think Donald Trump really gives a fuck about the border? He talks about it a lot. But who is Donald Trump? He's a billionaire that was born into a rich family with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's never lived in a border state. He's never lived on the border, right? He never gave a fuck about the border until he started running for president because he knows that's what the Republican voters care about. He's playing politics. He's a hustler. He's playing politics. He doesn't care about abortion rights. He doesn't care about the border. He doesn't give a fuck about none of it. The reason why he's running for president is because, like all men, he has an ego. I have an ego. You have an ego. Us men, we have an ego. His ego is all the way up here because he's Donald Trump. All right. He wants to leave a legacy. He wants to go down as the best president that ever was president. Good for him, right? He wants to do good by America. He does. Not for like illegals and shit. And maybe not, he's not going to put the world first. He's pro America. He wants to go down as a like hated by the media but loved by the people president, okay? Because of his ego. Because he wants to leave a legacy, okay? He doesn't give a fuck about this political stuff. He's using it so we'll talk about him 10, 20 years from now, like JFK or something, right? He wants to go down like that, okay? But Wall Street doesn't care about that, right? He's a thorn in their side. That's why they don't want him in. They want Kamala in, right? Because you're going to be able to make so much more money with Kamala if you have disposable income and you have a solid job, right? Or however you get your money, as long as your money's going to keep coming in and you're going to make even more money, even in a recession, and you don't have a lot of liabilities, you're going to be able to invest with Kamala Harris and you're going to make so much fucking money. I wouldn't become an owner operator right now. Just trucking, dude. If he's complaining now, oh man, especially with all his kids and his house and his cars, all his liabilities. If Kamala Harris gets in the office, just people like Just Trucking, they're gonna lose everything, right? What do you guys? I'll read some comments, then I gotta go to bed. Kamala grew up in Toronto in an upscale neighborhood. Then when she came to the U.S., she grew up right outside of Berkeley in another upscale neighborhood. Know your facts. Yeah, she's from the East Bay, right? She says she's from Oakland. But what is this? At least Kamala grew up poor and earned it. Oh, we got a Kamala supporter. Look, I don't care, right? I'm not a Trump supporter or a Kamala supporter. I'm a me supporter, okay? I'm about my money. And I want to know where to invest my money, no matter who gets into office, whether it's Trump or Kamala. You're going to get way more rich under Kamala as a truck driver, living in the truck with disposable income, because she's going to cause a recession, right? She's telling you she's going to cause a recession. If you listen to what she says, take all the politics out of it. Just listen to what she says she's going to do. She's going to cause a recession and a housing crash. That's good if you got disposable income and you're ready to invest. And with that being said, be sure to smash the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel. I don't think I'd become an owner operator right now. It's too volatile. I'm sure some of them are hauling good freight, decent freight and making good money, probably more than some company drivers. But it's too volatile, dude. The wrong administrator or the right administration, right? If Kamala gets in, a lot of the owner operators, they're going to lose everything, right? So, Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson, each podcast had individuals who have known Harris for over 30 years. I don't want to get into politics. I'm just telling you guys what to expect if Kamala gets in. She's most likely going to get in. They don't want Trump to get in. They don't want Trump to get in, right? And if you got disposable income, and if you want to invest for the long term and you want to get a big payout on your stocks and you want to come out on top of the housing crash that she's going to cause, Trump, dude, you want Kamala to win. Peace out.